Wow. I mean, what can you say? I mean, an incredible college basketball game against two very good teams, two teams that know each other very well, and to find a way to win that one in front of that crowd. I mean, I can't. I mean, that's I said it to somebody. I mean, that's the reason why I left Northern Colorado to come to Wyoming, was because I knew that if you can come here and you can build it and you can win, that the people of Wyoming, the students, and a big shout out to the students. I mean, for them to show up like they did, we need them. I mean, we had a tough stretch here. I mean, we need them every game. And as I saw Maury Brown on the way out, told him that probably reminded him a little bit of the old days when it was really the Dome of Doom, and the energy that crowd brought. It really helped us out. I mean, there was a lot of ebbs and flows with that game, and luckily we kind of withstood it for the most part. As I said on the radio, there's you see in football, especially in the playoffs, that there's a lot more ways to lose a game than there is to win a game, and you see that in the NFL playoffs. And we almost invented a new way to lose that game in regulation, with just some of the egregious fouls that we made 94 feet away from the basket. But for our guys just to really stick together. And when we went to overtime, I mean, what our guys were saying in the huddle, I mean, they were going to go win that game. And we always talk about winning plays. And I could go down the line in terms of guys that just stepped up and made winning plays. And for Wenzel to get that offensive rebound was just you never know what play is going to be the difference between winning and losing. And for him to go in there and make that play, and to land like he did, and to be smart enough too to know that his right hand wasn't feeling, his right arm wasn't feeling too well, and to make sure that he wasn't shooting it, and then for X to step up and make two big free throws. And then Drake Jeffries, he was in that same spot a year ago, almost same shot to win the game, and he airballed it. And we knew that they were going to choke off of whoever fed the ball to Graham, and I switched it up there, where the time before we had X, but then I put Drake there, and for Drake to step up and make that shot. I mean, that was a dagger three. And so just really proud of him, but just proud of our team, and just really thankful for the people of Wyoming, the fans at the University of Wyoming, the students. I mean, just making that just a special atmosphere tonight.
Jeff, what's going through your mind as Roddy steps up with a chance to win it there?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of things. Usually, I mean, praying, I'm not sure. I mean, I think every coach prays to win, and usually, I mean, it's not always ever answered. But I was probably, my parents being devout Catholics, I mean, I was definitely probably saying a couple of prayers, so hopefully for him to miss it. And he's such a good player. I mean, some of the shots that he made down the stretch, I mean, I was assuming it was going to make it, but thankfully did. But before that, for Graham to step up, and it's funny how some guys, when that moment, they that's where Graham, I mean, he wants the ball in those moments. And there's guys that might be a 70% free throw shooter in the first 38 minutes of the game, and then lo and behold, the last 2 minutes they don't miss. And then there's guys that are 90% free throw shooters. You get them the last 2 minutes, and then they turn into 50% free throw shooters. And so for him to make those shots, and then that last play was tough. I mean, we knew they were going to get downhill. We had Graham at the rim, protecting the rim. Drake kind of reached in. He thought he got all ball, but thankfully he missed, and thankfully found a way to win it in overtime.
Hey Jeff,
and thankfully we don't have the overtime rules that the NFL has, where if the first team scores, we obviously would have lost. So shout out to Josh Allen and the overtime rules.
Hey Jeff, going off of Cody's question, how big of an advantage is it for you guys having those students right there on the court, especially when they have that energy that they did tonight?
I mean, it's before I got here, and you look at the winning percentage at the University of Wyoming. I mean, it's one of the highest winning percentages in the country. You factor in the altitude, hard place to travel to, but when you add that type of energy, and you add that type of support, it makes a big difference. And for our guys, I mean, we've played in front of some good crowds at home, but I was a little worried that, knowing that we were going to have a really good crowd, how we would kind of react to that. But I thought we did a really good job of handling that situation and just embracing it and not letting it speed you up, not letting you do things that you can't do, but really in those moments when you need to get a stop. And that's where, luckily as we start to get more people and, especially when you have those students and hopefully, I didn't pull, tear my labrum trying to, wave my arms up and down, as you guys probably know. I mean, I'm pretty stoic on the sideline, but we need those, we need those moments, when we need a defensive stop and we need that place to get loud. And it got loud tonight. And it's just special because, as I told the guys beforehand, I mean, 2 years ago when I took this job, I mean, those three guys, Maldo, Kenny Foster, and Hunter Thompson, I mean, they had to trust in me that this would be possible. And knowing that they had never seen that during their time here. And then I had to try to convince, 9 or 10 guys, Graham Ike, Jeremiah Odin, Xavier Dussel, Drake Jeffries, all these guys that, hey, that this is what this is what Wyoming can be. And this is why it's a special place. And this is why you come to the University of Wyoming, because you will get this support that you don't get at most places. And for those guys, those returning guys to trust us, trust the coaching staff during a crazy time. And for those guys that had options that could have went to other places, those new guys, for them to trust the coaching staff that this could be possible, and then to see it come to fruition, it's a special feeling.
Jeff, there was a sequence late in the second half where it looked like CSU had a dunk and Jeremiah blocked it, and then Drake hit a three. It seems like Jeremiah, where maybe he hit the wall last year at this time, is really coming on strong. Just your thoughts on how Jeremiah is playing right now.
Yeah, I mean, he just, he's kind of the X factor, and it was big to see him because he put so much time in shooting the ball. And after he stepped out of bounds on the one, when he turned it down on that left corner, I'm like, if you don't shoot it, you're coming out. And then he made 2 threes in the corner. But then just, his ability to make winning plays. I mean, with his athleticism to go and make a block like that. I mean, there's not a lot of guys that can do that. And, his length and athleticism helps us be better defensively. And then, his ability to space the floor. And he just puts in so much time, as much time as anybody. And he's a late bloomer, and he's a guy that's, still learning how to play on the perimeter, but he's a guy that, as he continues, he's technically a freshman still. He's a COVID freshman. I mean, he's going to continue to do the right things. He's going to continue to make winning plays, and he's going to continue to help us win games.
Jeff, how does it feel just to beat CSU and finally get your first win in the rivalry?
Well, I mean, as we told our guys, I mean, we've only played 6 games in the league. I mean, we still got, after tonight, we have 11 more games to go, and it's the border war is a big deal. I mean, it's a really big deal, and I had Coach Bull down at practice yesterday. I mean, and for him, I saw him out of the corner of my eyes. I saw Coach Bull in there, getting the student section going before the game. So, I really appreciate him and his friendship, and him, kind of letting us know and what it means to beat Colorado State, because we hadn't done it, and for the football team, they've taken care of business on that front. And, I said, for our guys, I said, it's a big win. I mean, we really respect those guys and what they do, and we know they're a good team. But we also know too that, it's going to be short lived, because now you got to turn around, and lo and behold, you got Boise State showing up here on Thursday.
Jeff, obviously a big night for Maldo, but especially in the first half, I noticed he did a lot of work inside, was really posting up and trying to get stuff on the low block. How much of that was the game plan? Because I know that CSU was a little undersized compared to you guys. So what was it? Was that something you were telling him to do, or did he just kind of feel it out himself?
Well, I mean, we probably do it 30 times a game in terms of getting him into dribble downs. And the way that they were guarding Graham, I mean, they were being really physical. They're doing a good job of keeping it out of his hands. I mean, first and foremost, we wanted to try to play through Graham. And then, once we saw that was, that was a little bit more difficult, then, we tried to get some, excuse me. We tried to create some matchups to where we could get Maldo down in the dribble downs. And they did a good job for the most part in terms of being physical, but, Maldo, made the plays they needed to make. But, I thought not just that, but, in terms of just playing in the ball screen, that opened some things up a little bit as well. But then there at the end, I mean, Graham, And his thing with Grant, he's so young, and he's only played. He played only about 10 games last year, and knowing that and I got after him at halftime, just knowing that the other team. I mean, they know that the way that they're going to try to get underneath the skin, and a guy like Moores who's kind of chucking them all over the place. But he's just got to know that he's got to keep his cool, and knowing that that's the only way that they can guard him. I mean, that's the only way anybody in this league can guard him, is by just flopping around, fouling, trying to get under his skin. And so he just has to know that, that's, and I thought in the second half, he did a much better job of that. And we were, did some different things to get the ball to him to where he wasn't having to fight so much pressure. And, I thought, he played really, really well down the stretch in the second half.
And how do you teach that with big men, especially with Graham, to not be aggressive to the point where you're just constantly in foul trouble, where he can be a presence and really let his best ability shine?
Yeah, it's a fine line. It's sometimes, when you're his size and his strength. I mean, that's what you don't realize is how strong he is sometimes you get penalized for that, and it's unfortunate, but that's where for him, he's got to continue to learn how to play through those things. We have to continue to find ways to help him, get the ball to where, maybe he's not having to fight as much. But those are just, that's just part of the process. And that's just, the evolution of him just growing as a player. And, for him to be, another COVID freshman and being 18 years old, I mean, he's pretty damn good.